I have finished the second floor layout with all the walls, doors, and windows. And even over here in the front, where the second story balcony would be, I use reference planes to indicate the boundary of where I'm going to put that balcony floor a little bit later. So here we go, a completed floor, and let's see what it looks like in 3D. So we have our first floor going up to the plate height, and then we have the second floor level, and then we have our complete second floor built out. Notice that I can see everything on the inside of the first floor. That's because I haven't added a floor yet, and we're going to do that in another video. So let's finish this up by selecting all these exterior walls on the first floor and extending them up to the second floor level. We can do that from the first floor. So I'm going to select all my perimeter walls by hovering over an exterior wall, clicking Tab, and it highlights all the exterior walls, and I'm going to click with the mouse. So now I selected all my perimeters, and instead of going up to the plate height, we're going to go up to the second floor level and then hit Apply. And then we're going to look at our 3D, and now we see that our walls were extended all the way up to the second floor level. Good. Okay, so we're going to continue now with adding the roof to the second floor. Okay, so we're going to do that in the roof plate floor plan view. So let's go there. And notice that I can see the reference plane of what is going to be about my balcony. And I also added this other reference plane. And I'll show you why in a little bit. If we look at our roof plan, that's what it's supposed to look like. Okay? Simple hip roof and a gable in the front. But it's not only a single gable, it's actually a double gable. Here we go. We have one gable and then a bigger gable. So the reference plane that I added right here, it's actually the midpoint of this wall from here to here, so I can find my peak of that roof. And I found that from the front elevation, which in this case it's the south. Okay, so I drew a reference plane, this one, right in the middle of that wall between those windows, and I'm going to use that a little bit later to draw my roof gable at that point. So let's go to the roof plate level. And now we're going to draw the roof plan. In the Architecture tab, on the Roof tool, we click on that one, and it looks the same as drawing floor plans as we've been doing. So the first thing we need to do is we need to find the type of roof that we're going to use. Scroll down and you should have one that says wood rafter 8-inch asphalt shingles. Okay, so we're going to select that one. And anything else here? That's it. No other settings that we're going to select. In the overhang, we're going to select 1 foot. Okay, make sure to type that in. And then we're going to use our sketch line to trace around our perimeter to match our roof plan. Now, over here, under offset, once I clicked on the line, I got a different options bar. Offset, it means that I'm going to do a 1 foot, I need to put in a 1 foot overhang. When I'm sketching this, if I start here, notice that it's actually offsetting the line that I want 1 foot away from where I'm drawing it. And again, if I use the space bar, it'll flip it to the other direction. So I'm just going to trace the second floor all the way around, and it's going to draw my roof plan. And then to here. Okay, so now I have just an outline all the way around, 1 foot offset or overhang from the lines that I was drawing. Now you see all these little triangles right here. That means that all these lines are being sloped. So I'm going to select all of them, and I'm going to define what slope I want. In this case, I want 8 on 12. So I'm just going to type in 8, enter, and then apply. So it set an 8 on 12 slope on all of that. Let me finish this and let's take a look. Okay, so it looks kind of weird. Why does it look like that? Well, it's the view range. So if we go over here and scroll down to my view range, down here, all the way to the bottom, view range, we need to edit that. The cutoff plane is at 4 feet. Let's set it to 20 feet. And then same thing on the top one, it's set at 20 feet. 20 and 20, hit apply, and then OK. And now we see the complete roof plan. Okay, so let's look at our handout to see our roof plan. And we have hip roofs, but we have a gable over here. And what we drew was hip roof all the way around. So we need to make this area into a gable. So let's do that. I'm going to select my roof. I'm going to edit footprint. Okay? So I'm in edit mode, and I'm going to select this line. That's the line that we want to make into a gable. So once I have it selected, over here in the options bar, uncheck the define slope. And then notice that that little triangle went away. So once I do that and hit OK, now that makes that side into a gable roof. So let's take a look to see how that looks. Okay, we got gable in the front and then hips all the way around. So far so good. Let's look back over here and let's take a look at our wall section. Okay, this one. So in the top, the roof framing actually sits on top of the top plate. So I'm gonna, if you follow this line, that one, it actually sits on top of that piece. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna make sure that our roof actually sits on top of our wall plate. So how do we do that? Let's go to the roof plate view. Up here in the quick access toolbar, I'm going to click on section, and I'm just going to pick a side. Click once, click twice, and it's going to draw a section, a wall section for me right here. So if I zoom in and double click on that wall section, it shows me the wall. So I've got my levels, but my roof is a lot higher than it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be down here. So let me change this view to fine so we can see all our details. And I'm going to select my wall and I'm going to move it. Okay? So I got the move tool selected. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hover over the endpoint. I'm not going to click. I'm just going to hover and then just drag up. And let me see. Notice that when I get close to this wall, I get that aligned little dash line. So I'm just going to click there and grab it down and put it right here. So, okay? But this actually needs to be moved from the stud face here to that point. So this will be our top plate, and our roof framing is sitting on top of the wall top plate. So now we have the roof in the right connection. So let's look back on the 3D, and the roof moved on to that point. Okay, so our front, as you can see, we only have one big gable. We need to add a second gable. Let me go back over here. And go back to my elevation. Okay, so we have this big gable right now, and we want to add this piece. Now remember, this gable, this one, the center of the peak is right in the center of those windows. So what I did, if I go to my south elevation, that's when I drew this reference plane. I picked the center of that window and I just drew it straight up. So that means that I need to draw a roof right here that's identical to this side and then mirrored over to that side. So I'm going to show you another tool to do that. First thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to draw a line that I'm going to use as a guide. So I'm just going to go to Model Line. That's under Architecture, Model Line. And okay, I'm just going to draw, I'm going to follow from this endpoint to this intersection right here. Okay, so I just drew a line, and I'm going to select it, that line, click, and I'm going to mirror it over to the other side. And I'm going to use the mirror pick axis. And also I'm going to uncheck this so it doesn't copy it, I just want to move it over to the other side. So there's my line that is going to make the same angle as this side. Okay. Now I go to my roof tool. In the elevation view, I go to my roof, but I go to the little down arrow. And I'm going to use a tool called Roof by Extrusion, this one. And it's asking me where am I going to put, the plate for this roof. So we're going to use the roof plate level and accept that. Okay. And then I'm going to use this one, the pick line. And that guide, or that line that I'm using as a guide, I'm going to pick that line. So click, and now I have that pink line over that area. So once I am done, I'm going to say OK, and it's going to draw for me that other part of the roof gable. So let's take a look. Oh yeah, look at that. It did a really long roof piece. No problem. I'm going to select that, and I guess I didn't see the extrusion. So it says here that the start the extrusion is 0 and it extruded at 32 foot 6.5 inches. So I can change that to just 1 foot and say apply. So there we go. It put a little roof overhang at that point, and it's going to match what I have right here. Okay. Okay. So now what? Well, what about these voids that I have of the walls not going all the way up to the roof? Well, no problem. I'm going to edit the profile, but I'm going to go back to my south elevation. I'm going to use this wall. Let's look at the elevation. So we have this wall right here, and this wall are actually in the same plane. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit the profile to do this. Alright? So let's try it. So I'm going to pick this wall, edit profile, and then just sketch my profile. So I'm just going to trace underneath my roof. And it's going to come down on somewhere around right there. And it doesn't have to be exact for right now because we can edit it later as we add more detail. So I've got that boundary, and I need to get rid of this one, and I need to trim to corner that piece, and oops, I lost that line. I need to make sure I have that line in there, and now I have a complete closed loop all the way around. Say OK, and now I have that wall, so I can look at it in perspective view, and there we go. Okay, we'll continue on the next video.